I think that's going to be a further conversation.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We're going to have, like Craig said.
Yes.
Probably necessarily.
Yes.
I'm noticing it's 10 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
So we're all starting to get a little punchy here.
Yes.
I'm not punchy. I'm just asking questions. I'm going to pivot real quick.
Opportunity for us to almost hit a reset and look at the way we've been doing things historically, not been working, obviously. And we need to change the way we are doing our budget and actually take a look at programs. And I'm seeing the need to potentially wholesale cut some programs out of what we do as a city. Is it really a need for us? Is it part of our strategic plan? We need to have a discussion about that.
Man, it's not just enough that commissioner has to rail on us and treat us like we don't know anything. She does it to her fellow commissioners on the dais. Just watch.
So when are you wanting to have that conversation?
I think we should be starting it tomorrow after the budget's passed.
Well, we can't even decide on the budget.
That's true. I think it needs to start much sooner than when we start thinking about the budget in April, May. I think it needs to be something that we potentially set up to start.
But
let me finish.
And now that's the other thing about Amber Sellers. She gets all offended if somebody talks while she's talking, but she's more than happy to interrupt anybody else at any time.
Okay, please let me finish. I think it would be important for us to start that discussion at the first of the year and start looking at what numbers, what data we want to see as to how that works.
Okay. I think you're talking about changing the process and not necessarily, which I'm not opposed to. And I think we talked about that as far as the strategic plan and whatnot. I think the conversation is more about, you're saying we should start looking at what we need to cut. I mean, I think that is, if that's the tone.
No.
That help me understand.
Yeah, because I'm saying we need to look at the programs, all of our programs within our budget, within our purview, and decide, is this still what we want to do as a city?
That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a pretty damn clear statement, right?
But I'm assuming that that's what departments are doing. Are you saying we should do that?
I think we should be part of the conversation. The community should be part of that conversation. Yes. And we can we can see the data that whatever we decide the data needs to be is to take a look at programs.
And by data, what are you defining data as?
What's the intake, what's the outtake of revenues and expenses, and that doesn't necessarily dictate whether or not a program goes forward, but at least gives us an idea, a clearer picture as to how our programs fit in with our budget. And how much do we want? Let me finish. And how much we want to potentially support that as a community moving forward.
So you're talking about programs, not necessarily collective operational budgets.
I'm talking about the entire thing. I don't think anything should be left uncovered.
Like, do we want a golf course?
Yes, right.
Do we want to be
an airport
of serving X, Y, and Z? Not how do you do your job and manage. It's more like, do we want to continue to do this kind of work? I think that's what she's getting at.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been saying.
I'm just curious to.
Amber, they've all told you over and over now throughout this whole thing. Shut up.
You're just wanting to see that more elevated. I don't think it's not happening. I just don't think it's happening at the level that perhaps that is not suffice to you.
No, Amber, she wants to review all city programs and see if they're all still compatible with where the city wants to go in the future and cut any that aren't. It's that simple. What can't you understand about that?
Because I think staff does take that into account. I think you're just wanting it to be a little bit more elevated in technical.
Okay, that's what you think.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. This is getting very technical, so that's why I'm...
Amber, you should refrain from using the word technical, because I think if you get down into the technical aspects of what she's asking to do, you're going to get lost.
You're wanting to see something that's more outwardly technical and not inwardly technical.
I don't understand what that means.
And neither does anybody else. Amber, Please, with all your grace, explain to us what inwardly technical is versus outwardly technical. We're listening.
You're wanting to go through things more you want a more technical look at the functionings of every department's budget, which is what they're doing, but you're wanting it to be more outward facing.
Can you gradually turn this circle into this other circle? Into this other circle? Into this other circle? Into this other circle?
This is going to get complicated.
Okay, that's what. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, I've told you what I want. I've told you what I want, and I think we need to look at every single program, and we can decide what that looks like as to what we want to do. But we should not left any stone unturned.
I think that's going to be a further conversation.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to have, like Craig said.
Yes.
Probably necessarily.
Yes.
I'm noticing it's 10 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
So we're all starting to get a little punchy here.
Yes.
I'm not punchy. I'm just asking questions.
But honestly, guys, none of this should surprise us because she set the tone early in the meeting when she had to pivot away from a discussion out of superiority, maybe?
If you're not comfortable putting it on the ballot, then what is your solution?
Mm-hmm. We're trying to bring down that mill levy.
So we're doing you don't have anything right now, but
no,
you're
I
suggesting.
don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to take it off the ballot, but you have no solution.
I just question the timing of putting it on the ballot this year.
Right. But we vote on a budget in 2 weeks.
I understand that.
You're not wanting to put it on the ballot. I'm going to pivot real quick.
Yeah, Lisa. I kind of agree with that look, too.
I can't hide.